Welcome to Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Borough in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington. Let's first of all wish you and yours a very happy new year. Welcome everybody to Sportsline. Bob Tattern with Mike Pavlik. We'll be wearing almost the same.
We called ahead. Made sure we got the uniform right.
We got the khakis.
Absolutely.
The green khakis. Anyway,
it was kind of festive. I figured I'd pull it out.
Yeah, I was going to wear something maybe a little bit red, but
yeah.
We got enough red up here.
Exactly. We got the beautiful poinsettias in front of us.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was not surprised to have the producer say to us, as we're playing or getting ready to go on the air, that all the phone lines are lit.
I wonder why that could be.
I wonder why everybody wants to,
You know why, Bob? They all want to talk about Bill O'Brien leaving Penn State.
Yeah, okay. All right, folks, if you want to win a prize tonight on the program, that's your option. After you talk sports with us, and you want to attempt a trivia question at the end, you can win the Grand Salami, the Mystery Profile, or the multiple choice. You take your pick, and then we give you the question. You provide an answer, and if you do, you win a prize, which we will state before the question. We'll tell you what you'll get, or come close to it anyway. You can win the Grand Salami or the Mystery Profile once in a calendar month, and you can only attempt the Mystery Profile once in the calendar month. So if you've tried it in December already, then you're not eligible for tonight, whether you've won or lost. Multiple choice questions, we give you 15 seconds to respond. The Grand Salami at 20 seconds, the Mystery Profile clue by clue. First-time callers or anyone who is not called within the last year is considered a first-time caller, and you will win more than one prize. Answers to the trivia questions are on my website, doubledribblebob.com, and my radio show, which is on the air every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock on sports history and sports nostalgia, is heard on WAVL, which stands for Apollo, Vandergrift, and Leechburg, 910 on the AM dial, not FM, okay? All right, folks, good to have you with us. Steelers, go out and win. And I'm looking at, I was telling Mike before, how would you like to be Arizona and come up with a record of 10-6 and not make the playoffs?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, 8-8, you can rationalize away not making it at 8-8 because, frankly, if you're 8-8, you really don't have a beef, except for the fact that they should have been there. But anyway, when you're 10-6, and they could have been 11-5, they nearly won that game yesterday. And if they'd have been 11-5, they still wouldn't have made it.
You know, that's amazing.
They would not have made it at 11-5, and it was very possible that an 8-8 team would have made it from the AFC.
Right.
And we've had a few of those recently. Remember, Denver was 8-8 when they beat a 12-4 Steeler team 2 years ago in the playoffs. And Seattle got in at 7-9, winning their division at 7-9 a couple of years ago, and beat the Saints the year after the Saints had won the Super Bowl. So just because you get in with a crappy record doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to do something. It's only twice. Those are the only two examples where teams with 8-8 or worse record have won a playoff game. That's the only two times. But it does tell you that that has been in the last 3-4 years. So things are different than they used to be.
It's called parity.
I should say. That's probably about it.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back, and caller number one is going to join us on the air, and we'll talk sports and see what we can do about some trivia. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Since 1914, people in the local area have relied on the Resevich family in deepest time of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley. Its reputation and unquestionable service speaks for itself. Now the proud tradition of service continues with a fourth generation. The Resevich family serves the AK Valley from two locations, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road, Lower Burrell.
AKLC Studios LLC is a place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Faldarelli Square. Folks, if you're car shopping, make sure that you check in with Tower Auto Sales at Freeport Road in Blawnox. You'll find the best in product, the best in selection, the best customer communication, and most important, best service after the sale. Call Mike Fanto at Tower Auto Sales at 412-828-6202. And again, good to have you with us, folks. We do have callers on the line. And we got 3 ready to go right now. So let's go to, how about that? Let's go to number 1. And I think it's Tony. Welcome to the program, Tony.
Happy New Year's, guys.
You too, Tone. Hey, wait, first of all, before you go, I want to thank your Irish. I had them for 35 confidence points in my pool, so I'm glad they came through.
Great.
That was the highest. That was my highest. That was my highest confidence I had in the Irish. So good.
So I won't have to give you that number for that support group now, right?
No, there's no money involved. Trust me.
Okay. Anytime you want it, you call me.
You got it.
Hey, last week's show you wasn't there, but
I was watching.
Yeah, they gave that mystery profile.
Mm-hmm.
And right after it was over, Bob and George started screaming, "I bet you Tony would have been screaming at the TV." Well, I was, but it was on Thursday, and it was a rerun. And they gave the question, and I'm screaming, But that first, the clue was the worst clue ever given to any sports trivia question in the world. This is the first clue.
Let me rehash.
He was a Heisman Trophy winner at Notre Dame. Well, I said his names plus everybody else's name when he gave the question. All right, it should have been, I'm a Heisman Trophy winner at Notre Dame. I made one of the most famous tackles at Yankee Stadium against one of our biggest rivalries.
Right. Well, that would have been against Army, correct?
Right. Yeah, Doc Blanchard. He took off down the sidelines, and he caught him.
Was it legal?
I don't know. They had to go to instant replay.
Now, would that would have been Frank Leahy, right? Would have been the coach of that group?
Yes.
Because
Leahy
there
was the coach. Johnny Latner was the guy that caught him.
And nobody.
And that preserved a 0-0 game.
And nobody did a better Frank Leahy impression than Johnny Latner himself.
Oh, yeah.
He did a great Frank Leahy impression there. Latner. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Johnny. He said, he dropped an interception, and he called him in and told him he committed one of the. He violated one of the 10 Commandments, and he'd have to go to church and see into confession and say so many Our Fathers and Hail Marys. He told Johnny Latner. But that's all I wanted to say about that.
That's good. Well, I'm glad you shed some light on that because.
Yeah. Well, I got it on the second question, but the first question was just. I tell you, if he was smart, he would have said all of them.
All of them, exactly.
All of them. He would have been right.
That's probably true.
How many were there? 7?
Yeah, I think there's 7. Yeah.
I was checking the books again today. Tony Dorsett, he's the only man from Pitt to ever win a Heisman.
That's right. That's it.
Yeah.
So Pitt's had one, but there's so many great
Marshall
colleges
Goldberg
out there.
was voted high, and Hugh Green finished second.
Yeah.
And I think Larry Fitzgerald finished second to
But there were so many great athletes that came out of Pitt that didn't make it.
Right. And then there's only one. I believe John Cappelletti's the only Penn State, right?
Right. The only one.
Yep. Yeah, Tim Brown was the last one Notre Dame had.
Oh, there you go. Boy, I can remember Tim Brown running back a punt against Navy.
Yeah, and the Rockets should have won it, but they messed him out of that.
Rockets should have
what are you
won
going to
it.
do?
And that bogus, we're really going off. And the Orange Bowl against Colorado, that bogus penalty call in that.
Oh my God, that was almost like yesterday's game.
I'll tell you what, and I said, I'm not even being a Notre Dame fan, but just enjoying watching college football. That to me, as someone that was completely neutral, was a completely bogus call.
All right, let me ask Tony a question.
Go ahead, buddy.
All right, Tony, we all know that the football officials do make a decent buck, a very, very decent dollar.
Right.
Okay. The new rule for the year, they talked about the defending of the goal, the field goal attempt. Okay. You have to line up defensively equal amount of men on either side of center. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, when it is a new rule, or when any new rule comes in, they have, these big memos that come out and explain this, explain that. How could that not be on their mind? Because what should have happened, and I'm not crying sour grapes here for the Steelers, but the point being, no matter what team it was, it would have been a 5-yard penalty against the defense that would have moved the ball 5 yards closer and given this guy one more opportunity to try to tie the game with a field goal.
Yes, well, they admit they blew it.
They did. Tomlin said he even got the phone call, he wasn't even really the aggrieved party. The Chiefs really were. But
they blew the fumble.
Oh, that was terrible.
Ran back for a touchdown. They blew that.
You talk about like you said, a punch in the gut. That's about what that was. It's like I felt like, I don't know about you, Tom, I felt like that the Steelers just lost a playoff game when that happened. And it's like, I didn't think it was going to affect me at all. I didn't think I was going to care much. I was talking to John, who's in town visiting.
But it comes down to one guy and one guy only, Mr. Andy Reid, which never won anything in Philadelphia.
No, he didn't.
With all the talent he had, and he never will. He rested 22 guys. No, he rested 20 out of 22, and it was the punter and the kicker, the only two guys he played. All right? And I bet he was shocked. He probably wanted to lose that game, and I bet he was shocked when them scrubs start playing better than his team has been playing for the last 3-4 weeks. And I hope this cost him in the first playoff.
Me too.
I hope dearly. And listen to this: they're driving to tie the game. All right, they get down there real quick, and he runs a sweep to the short side of the field and loses 5 yards. Come on, man! What are you giving me? They had receivers open all over the place, and he runs a sweep on first and 10.
And I'll tell you something. Chase Daniel's a pretty good quarterback. So I didn't feel so bad that he had played, but unless the only benefit of the doubt I'll give him on that is that they went to the kicker and said, "What side do you want it on?" And he wanted it over there. But see, that makes no sense.
5 yards on the play.
Yeah, but no kidding. But that makes no sense either, because soccer-style kickers like it on the other hash. They don't want it on that hash.
And here's the best part: they have a 10-point lead. All right, they kicked off and they stopped San Diego 3 straight times. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Where was all that passing? Where was he? He didn't try. He didn't try to win the game. He tried not to lose it.
Tried not to lose it, and guess what? A lot of times when you do that, you end up losing it.
I'm trying to remember who it was. One of the Steelers.
Or the refs take it off you.
Yeah.
Believe me, at 8-8, they didn't deserve to go, but
they did enough, didn't they, Tony? That's what I'm saying. They did everything. They did enough, and here was the point I made to somebody last night, as Ole Miss gets a field goal block. Lovely. Anyway, and is that 2 years ago, if the officials would have made a bad call that would have cost the Giants their final game of the season against the Cowboys, okay? If that would have happened, and the Cowboys would have won that game and won the NFC East, and the Giants would have gone home, and the Giant fans would have been saying, well, they don't have a beef because they were only 8-8 and they didn't deserve to be there anyway. Well, a month later, they lifted the trophy up in the air, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did, and they were in about the same position that the Steelers were yesterday.
That's right. And I'm going to tell you another thing. Oh, well, the odds were so great against them. Exactly, but the odds are not posted on coach sitting 20 players down. They don't give odds on that.
And you know,
sure they were 8-8. I mean, sure, the odds was against them, and they had to have 8 things go right. But that ain't based on a coach sitting 20 players down.
And,
okay.
And if you notice what happened during the week, when they asked him what he was going to do, and he didn't commit one way or the other, he didn't say what he was going to do. He practiced his regulars in practice, and he went along like nothing was going to be different. But when you saw the spread come out, there's no way that would have been the spread if it wasn't already inside information what was going to happen.
You know they dropped the game, Vegas.
Oh, they dropped it all together.
Oh yeah. Once he said he was resting his 20 guys, they dropped the game. You couldn't bet on it.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw. I saw the original line, and I wish I could go back and get it off the one site they used. But it started off at maybe San Diego was like a 2.5, and then it shot to 7.5, 8, and up over 10.
That's right. That's right.
Which,
then Vegas dropped the game. It said last night. I heard it on there.
And that was before he even announced he was resting his people.
Right. Well, don't worry. That gets out.
Sure it does.
I mean, the players know it, then, that gets out. So
it's amazing.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's amazing what Vegas knows. And you look at some, and when you wonder, and Pip, I'm telling you, Pip sat here for years saying this, and I always wondered, and I'd ask him about it, and he said, and all he would say is, Milo, trust me. And it was like, he knew.
Trust him.
They knew, and people in
Vegas
Vegas
people
knew.
everywhere. They know everything.
They do.
And this is another thing. I'm sorry, but the last game of the season, if it affects anybody, any team, not only the Steelers, that team that could help them shouldn't be allowed to sit anybody. This is professional sports.
Well,
they get paid the big money.
Isn't it funny how in the NBA, when Greg Popovich in San Antonio decides on some off Thursday night that he's going to sit Duncan and Parker and Ginobili, that he gets there's a bill in the mail the next morning. That they get fined for that.
There you go.
And that's in the middle of the season, not at the end. And there was a fine in the mail the next morning for that. Yep. And I find that very interesting how that works.
And what gets me is it's not whether you want to rest your players or not. Well, how about if you don't like the coach? How about if you don't like the team? You can say the heck with them. I'm gonna give it to them.
And in baseball too, they keep close eye on if you have an incentive bonus in that contract. That if he starts sitting his people at the end of the year and they can't meet that incentive bonus, that the union will file a grievance right away.
Right. Whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, they needed 8 things to happen, 7 happened, and like I said, the odds wasn't based on the guys sitting down in players, and you can blame him. I don't care what they say. And I think them scrubs did a heck of a job.
They played a good game, didn't they?
Yes, they did, and
I hope
despite him, despite him, they played a heck of a game.
And I hope their regulars lose by 70 points on Saturday.
Right,
I do too, and San Diego should be embarrassed.
Hey, they didn't do anything wrong. I don't blame them.
Tony,
no. I mean, embarrassed that them scrubs took them to the brink of losing.
True as that, huh?
Yeah. Tony, we
got to
do.
I mean? I'm not saying no, they had nothing with that. I'm just saying to go out there and play with 20 of the starters sitting on a bench, and you got to go down and have a miracle happen twice, 3 times, or whatever you want to call it.
Can we join in the effort to get him to?
Let's go. Let's do trivia.
Let's do trivia, Tony.
I don't. I'm not.
You're not good yet, huh?
Good. Well, that's good.
Huh? No. Oh, yeah. I could go for the.
You could go small.
Yeah, I could go small or the mystery profile or something like that. But no, next week I'm back to the salami. I got to win a couple more of them. That's all. Then I'm retiring.
Then you're
I'm going to ride off into the sunset. Gentlemen, you have a great New Year's.
You too, Tony.
And we'll talk to you again.
Thanks for your participation. We'll talk to you next year.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
He didn't go for a small one?
No, he said he's just going to move along.
Okay. All right. Let's take a break.
We get to do that, don't we?
I think Mike from Arnold joins us when we return. So stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My first book on sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com, where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough. Boy, if you haven't tried the Iron Man Hoagie, you got to stop by Mattio's Pizza and Subs. That Iron Man Hoagie is a challenge. If you're a guy or a gal, for that matter. In fact, I think on Mattio's Wall of Fame, they've got a couple of young ladies up there who have been able to pack it away. The Iron Man Hoagie, Mattio's Pizza, Subs, gyro sandwiches, hoagies, calzones, strombolis, wingdings, and more. Check them out. They're at Broadview Boulevard, right next to I keep wanting to say the Justice of the Peace, the District Magistrate's office at the traffic light. 724-904-7312 is the number. Good to have you folks with us tonight. Mike from Arnold is on the line. Mike, good evening.
Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year to you.
Hey, didn't I hit it right on the button? I
Mike?
said 8-8 this year.
I have it right here. I have you checked.
We were wondering
Good, I didn't forget it, you know.
You're right here, 8-8. You have done it. You nailed it. You were the only one that got it right. And I mean, there were some. We had a 7-9 at Kenwood, and we had a couple of 9 and 7s. The two guys that sit out here with me, Bob and George, had 9s and 7s. I had 11 and 5. I thought they'd make the playoffs. They almost did. But Mike, you nailed it. That's an outstanding job on your part.
Well, to tell you the truth, even if they would have, won that and the Steelers would have got in, I don't think they deserved it anyway, the way they played. And losing 4 in a row from the beginning, that's what messed them up right there.
Sure it is. But I will tell you this. Only Carolina.
But they won 6 out of 8, too.
That's what I'm going to say. Only Carolina had a better record than they did the second half of the season. Carolina went 7-1 in the second half, and the Steelers went 6-2. So they were the second hottest team in the league coming down the stretch. But their defense is what kept them out. We'll get a chance to talk about that as we get closer to the draft. That really, they scored enough points. Their defense was their issue.
Are you there?
So what will I be getting, a gorgeous blonde or a limousine? Or
Well, it was going to be if you would the prize isn't that good. We're down the scale a little bit. We figured. Well,
I'll tell you what, Mike. You can come up and help Matilda, our cleaning lady. You can help clean the windows with her and kind of, chummy up to her. And
you know what, Bob? I can tell you where to go fast, but I'm on the air,
Exactly. We appreciate your restraint, Mike.
All right, Mike.
Okay, I think I'll take my usual
Multiple choice it is. Let's do it. Maybe we can get you something here,
multiple
too.
choice.
Multiple it will be. This will be number 8 on our list of happy trivia questions, our final show. It's our final show of 2013 and our first show of 2014, depending upon when you're watching it. All right, Mike, here you go. Who was the first National League designated hitter to hit a home run? The first National League designated hitter to hit a home run. Choices are Mike Piazza, Glenn Allen Hill, the Spider-Man, Keith Hernandez, or Ricky Henderson.
Is that the first time at bat, you mean?
The first National League designated hitter to hit a home run.
Okay, I'd say Mike Piazza or whatever.
It is not Mike Piazza. The answer is Ricky Henderson. When they first started interleague play, in the 97 probably, I believe it was, And
Let me ask you one more question, Mike,
Please.
before you leave.
Go
What
ahead.
the heck happened to Burnett? I've been listening already on TV. Is
Nothing.
he still with him, or is
He hasn't
gone,
made
or
up
what?
his mind, supposedly. I think that it's more they're waiting for him to make up his mind and his price to come down a little bit. But they haven't, here's what I think. I think that if he really is hedging a ball on whether he wants to come back or not, that these baseball players, from what we've heard over the years, really don't start to get the itch until after the holidays are over. So after Christmas is over, the tree's put away, and all the visiting's done, and these ball players start sitting around thinking, okay, shouldn't I be getting ready to go to spring training? Shouldn't I be going out to work out and get ready to go down to Florida? And when that starts to hit them that it isn't there anymore, I think that's when you'll see some movement. Or he might be one of these guys where they can make a deal with him and say, hey, whenever you're ready, let us know and you can come back. Even if it's into the season, we'll take you and anything they can get out of him, he's still a terrific pitcher, even as much of a pain in the butt as he can be. So,
Well, I'll be expecting my prize through the mail, guys. So you have a nice
you got it. Happy New Year,
Year,
Mike.
what have you.
Thank you.
He expects a what?
He said I'll be waiting for his prize in the mail. That's all.
What prize is he getting?
I don't know. On the question before we go to the next caller, I said Glenn Allen Hill, the Spider-Man. You know where that came from?
Oh, yeah, he fell over. He was a sleepwalker.
He was sleepwalking and dreaming that he was being attacked by spiders, and he fell down and ended up on the disabled list. And went through a plate glass window or something?
He was napping. No, I'll tell you what he did. He was napping in the living room,
Okay.
and when it happened, he leaped, got up off the couch and fell into the glass coffee table. Then he staggered to the steps and he rolled down. And
I knew there was
and he
glass.
wound-
Coffee tables would have either been him or Bob Huggins, I guess. That's usually that was his go-to move.
Anyway.
All right.
All right, let's go to Mark on the phone. Mark, good evening.
Oh, good evening, fellas.
Hi, Mark.
First of all, talking about the Steelers, I still think the NFL is glad they're not in. I still think there's a big minor conspiracy against Pittsburgh. They don't want him in for a while. But besides that, no, that Mike on the NFL, he was an ex-official. He does the...
Mike Pereira, yes.
Yeah, he said there were two bad calls
Right.
against Kansas, or that hurt Kansas City. What was the other one he was talking about?
The other one was when the game had gone to overtime, after the field goal was missed, and they missed the alignment problem on the field goal. When they went to overtime, and San Diego had 4th and 2.5 on about their 27.5-yard line, and they faked a punt. They snapped it to the up man, and apparently they had ruled the forward progress stopped. The Chiefs took the ball away while the pile was still moving forward, ripped the ball out of his hands, and ran it back for a touchdown that should have been the game-winning touchdown. And that was missed.
Well, had the whistle been blown now?
There
or
was,
no?
if you listen, there was no whistle.
Okay, that's what he meant then.
If
All
you
right.
listen, there was no whistle. Now, the problem with that is that he said forward progress. Now, this is another one of these things that drives me crazy. Forward progress is not reviewable. My question to that is, why? Why isn't it reviewable? Why isn't everything reviewable like it is in a college game? And by the way, I want to thank Terry last week. I wasn't here, but Terry brought up what I was going to say.
Terry
You guys were,
from one of our callers.
right, Terry Trees. He brought up about the officiating, and he said if Mike was there, he would start to get in on why they should have the college rules about how everything is reviewable. So Terry's on the line. Good. And I would like to say, Terry, you're 100% right that I'm going to bring that up, and I'm going to bring it up right now. Because if the college rules were in effect in that game last night, we'd be talking about how are the
Who
Bengals...
the Steelers going to...
Yeah, how are the Bengals going to deal with the Steelers this weekend after the Steelers just beat them 3 weeks ago? Because it would have been fixed and that would have been taken care of. And I know the games take a little longer. Yes, they do. But the games are also timed differently in college than they are in the NFL. So I'm not exactly sure how reviewing each play does that. But that's...
Yeah, I agree with you. They should be. I mean, you're talking a billion-dollar industry. Granted, their judgment call, but if it can change the outcome and it was the right call, that's what it should be.
Absolutely.
There was another, I don't know if you watched the Dallas game last night.
Did.
As much as my brother-in-law is probably fuming, when Dallas had the ball with less than 2 minutes to go, they drove or something down the field. The guy got tackled, right, and somehow they messed up. They started the 25-second clock instead of the 40.
Oh, yes.
They cost
yes.
them time. They did, yeah.
They showed it again on
And
the
they-
replay.
and it cost them
showed
5
that.
yards.
That cost them a delay of game
It was,
penalty.
it was terrible.
And-
Well, and the funny part was, Mark, while you were watching it, the announcers both said, Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels both said, didn't that seem kind of funny to you?
Yeah, exactly.
They
then
caught
they
it
showed
right away.
again on the replay with the screen and said, "Here's our game clock,"
And the point-
it went from 40 to 25, like there had been a timeout call,
Right,
and
and
there was a
they got home-
delay.
They got homered by their own clock guy.
Okay, and one other quick question: who were all the 6 coaches fired today?
Okay, I got the list. I have 5. Is it 6?
I heard 6 on the news, but I couldn't hear.
Unless someone else got it. Well, here's what I had. Rob Chudzinski in Cleveland was last night. And then today we had Leslie Frazier, Minnesota, Mike Shanahan, Washington, Greg Schiano, Tampa Bay, and Jim Schwartz from Detroit. I don't know if I missed any, but that's the list that I had written down earlier. But that's easy
Yeah,
enough.
that's the 5 I knew. And they were saying the 6th one, and I couldn't find out.
Well, there was rumors about Mike Munchak if they're talking about the 6 total openings, I think they're also talking about Houston, because Houston had fired Gary Kubiak previously, and that job is
Maybe
open
that's
also.
what they meant.
Okay. I had also seen, and I'm looking online here. I don't see anybody else. That I saw a tweet from Chris Mortensen about an hour ago that he is hearing that Bill O'Brien and the Houston Texans should have this taken care of in the next 24 hours.
I thought O'Brien vowed to stay at Penn State
Sure
for a while.
he did.
It's changed.
Yeah, sure he did.
Oh, wow.
But supposedly that he says he expects that in the next day, and then
okay.
and then I practiced this, Mark. Penn State head coach Greg Schiano, practice saying it over and over again, because eventually it will roll off the tongue. And this is
Okay.
I think he's been angling for that, and he's always wanted that job. And the AD likes him, and if that's what Penn State does, that they've certainly taken a step down.
I lost a week last week. My wife was in the hospital from Monday night
hope
till
she's okay.
Saturday afternoon, so I really lost track of what the heck was going on.
What, was she in for Christmas?
Yes.
Oh,
that's
my.
never
She's
good.
doing
my.
better now. They didn't know what the heck she had. She's still not feeling the best, but they kicked her out Saturday. But
They'll
she's
do that.
taking antibiotics and some pills, and she's not feeling bad. We're listening. She's listening on the phone with me.
Well, I'm glad she's out there. I'll tell you what, everybody, you're not alone, because everybody seems to have something. We've got this couple of spurts of warm weather, and I swear all the germs just went crazy. I don't know what it is.
Okay, I guess I'm ready for my multiple choice.
All right, I guess it's my turn.
It
We
is
go
you.
to number 9 is next on the rotation list, Mark, and we're looking at a baseball question. And here we go. Number 9 it is for Mark. We're looking for the answer to the question of who is the only pitcher ever to win a Cy Young Award while pitching for a last place team. So your options are Bob Friend, Steve Carlton, Robin Roberts, and Ferguson Jenkins.
How about Ferguson Jenkins and his orchestra?
Well,
No?
no. Mike and I chuckled at the same time. Anyway, Steve Carlton is the answer. In 1972, for last place, they were pathetic because they
bad.
barely won over 50
I think
games.
they won 59 games, 58.
Was he with the Cardinals or Phillies?
He was
then?
with the
Philly.
Phillies.
What did I say,
Phillies.
Cardinals?
He was with the Phillies. He was traded for Rick Wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was 27-10 that year, and the Phillies were so pathetic it was unbelievable.
You know what it meant? That Bob and I both laughed at the same time when you said Ferguson Jenkins and his
Well,
orchestra.
Bob Prince used to say.
It all means that we're all old enough to remember Bob Prince.
There you
The
go,
gunner,
Mark.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
You guys have a good New Year, and hopefully I can call next Monday.
You can.
We'll be here.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Terry's on the line holding, and I don't want to cut him off after just a couple of minutes, so let's do the break, which is a minute away. We'll do it now. Then we'll pick up Terry on the phone. And am I not funny tonight, Mike?
We're on a roll tonight. This is the holiday season. It's all that extra sugar, Bob.
It's the vino down here that
exactly.
we've been nipping on. Anyway,
A little Dago Red for you.
let's take a break. We're coming back right after this.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville. See us first for holiday decorations and supplies. Our entire inventory's on sale at discount prices. Don't wait. Supplies are limited. Since you'll spend less than you thought on decorations, see us for gifts. Our inventory, new name brand furniture, tools, housewares, pet supplies, automotive supplies, and toys are also on sale at discount prices.
Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today. Route 380 Murraysville.
Arnold Furniture has been the area's favorite furniture store for over 37 years. The selection just can't be beat. 4 floors of living room, dining room, recliners, bedding, accessories, and so much more. You'll always find friendly personal service from the Miller family, and you'll love the prices where we consistently beat the competition. Plus, free local delivery, free setup, and free removal of your old furniture guaranteed. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurniturinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Yeah, Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox. You know, they've been around for more than 40 years at the same location. That's a lot of experience in working with pre-owned vehicles. So allow Tower Auto to help you in the selection of your next pre-owned vehicle. Tower Auto Sales, just buy it. Call Mike Fanto, 412-828-6202, or stop in on a lark.
Or if you're smoking a lark. Or if you're smoking a lark. Do they make those anymore? I don't even know.
All right, Terry, you're going to do some bragging tonight.
Bragging about what, sir?
Yeah, you seem to hit it on the head, right?
Oh,
Exactly.
last week with the prediction that everything at 1 o'clock would go well, but at 4 o'clock they would be eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I never did hear the penalty of the field goal. Was it 12 men on the field, or what was that?
There's a new rule that you can't have more than 6 guys on either side of the ball. So it needs to be 6 guys on one side and 5 guys on the other. They don't want loading up, say, putting 8 guys over on one side, 4 on the other, and then just crashing down. The way Tomlin had explained it today at his press conference was that this is a player safety issue, that what they were doing was loading up one side to try to block the kick, and guys were getting rolled over and literally getting injured. And they put this rule in that, and it's very simple. There were 2 guys back there to count, and it isn't any different than the offensive side, than the official that's responsible for counting and making sure enough guys are on the line of scrimmage offensively. It's the same thing here. I had no idea, but obviously, Tomlin knew right away. He said that he got that right away, obviously, because he's on the competition committee himself. So he would have been on the committee to put the rule in. So not surprisingly, he had that. But.
And Terry, Mike and I talked about this, and again, I don't know that Mike agrees or disagrees with me, but what do? You've got 7, how many, is it 6 or 7 officials on the field?
7 or 8.
Okay, and nobody catches it?
Yeah, well, it's like that time Cowher stuffed the
picture.
photo image in the referee's shirt pocket. You know?
Remember that one.
You know, that rule, I guess, you know, player safety is important, but that rule just seems kind of funny. You could stop it by anytime you see, you know, 9 guys on one side of the field and 2 on the other. You don't have your punter punt. You have them run to
the
the
other
weak
way.
side.
Exactly.
You know, you ought to be able to block a couple guys down and then maybe get a first down, unless you're, you know, 4th and 25 or something.
You know, it seems to me that all the way back to when Don Shula was basically running the competition committee, that every year they would come up with a new rule to try to stop special teams from succeeding. That you know, all you needed to know was if Don Shula had a punt blocked against the Dolphins,
The following
year there was going to be a new rule to stop however that punt was blocked. And really, it's like, you know, you just made the best point there. If you know, there's a way to combat this, you know, to make sure that it doesn't go. But I guess, you know, they're not going to stop until they get all kicking out of the game. I swear. I don't know if you heard. Somebody told me yesterday that there's not going to be any kickoffs in the Pro Bowl. They're just going to place the ball down somewhere. on like the 25 or something. And just
You know
go
what,
from there.
Terry? Let me go back to my unheralded high school basketball days.
Bucks.
Every time there was a two or more players, reaching for the ball and they were entangled, they went for a jump ball. At halftime, instead of the alternate possession dictating what team brings it in play, there was another jump ball. And Penn Hills had this kid. He did make Hollywood, by the way, and he was in, in costume with the monster they chase out in the woods that's evasive all the time. What is it?
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. He played in a Bigfoot movie. He was 7'1", I believe. His last name was Hall. Either Hall, I think it was Hall. Anyway, Dick Meisenhelder was coaching Penn Hills. They would start the game. He wasn't a great player, but he sure could get the opening tip-off.
But you can't teach 7-1.
Anyway, second half would start. Here's Hall in there. Gets the tip. They call a timeout, not to get the ball out of bounds. And they particularly got him in there when they needed.
They needed a jump ball. Yeah,
But
he was a possession for sure.
times change.
Yeah. I mean, back when you were playing, they actually called double dribble and palming the ball.
Traveling. Hey, Terry, we had in one of the games I did this year, we had a palming. It was right in front of me too, and I couldn't believe that they actually called it. The kid was like this, and he's bringing it along, taking it about 3 steps, and they actually whistled it down. And the opposing coach, sits right over here to my right. He started complaining, and then he looked over to the table, and he just shook his head and sat down. He goes, well, why am I even going to bother with that? But I actually saw
asked the referee about that one time after a game I went to, and he says, "Oh, we don't usually call that unless it interferes with the progress of the game."
Oh.
Huh?
It's a turnover. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a thing on TV today. Can you name, in the last 50 years, the major league batter with the highest on-base percentage?
The last 50.
In the last 50 years. So
Yeah.
this is taking Ted Williams out of play then,
That
right?
brings in Ichiro Suzuki.
Well, I would say Frank Thomas.
It is Frank Thomas. Yeah, it was like 487.
Because I've always said, I never saw Ted Williams play, but if you match the stats of Frank Thomas and Ted Williams together, you have the same guy. If you look at it, it is amazing that, and Frank Thomas is a Hall of Famer, first ballot in my opinion. He's there. He was doing all that before we knew of the big, the big PED thing, and I don't know what he did or what he didn't do. He swears up and down that there was no way he did any of it, but which to me, we're going to have, and I know, I don't know where you're going with this, but there's these Hall of Fame ballots are going to get really crowded now because, and I think what's going to happen is deserving people are going to start to be left out because you can only vote for 10, and people that. If there wasn't the question mark about them that would already be in, like say Bonds, Clemens, guys along those lines, are still going to show up on people's ballots, and eventually guys are not going to get voted in because of this, and I think they got a real problem on their hands here.
Hey, the Pirates got themselves a first baseman today.
Yeah, I saw that. I forgot the guy's name.
I guess his major league batting average was something like 101 or something.
Nothing I enjoy more
year.
than 27-year-old first baseman that can't get out of AAA.
Yeah, and so they announced him on KDK radio, and what did they do when they said they got a first baseman? He said, and he hit 25 home runs last year. Didn't say for who.
Right.
So everybody's got a spin on it.
It was from Texas. It's a AAA first baseman from Texas. It's like, well, Indianapolis needs a first baseman too, and I think that's what happened right there.
That could be.
Yeah.
That could be.
And he's the general manager has the responsibility of filling the minor league teams too, so that's pretty much what that is. Because they don't have anybody, Terry, really. I mean, they have no one from the lower levels up at first base at all. They don't have one.
Yeah, you'd think that would be a pretty easy position to find.
Yeah, but you know what? Guys like that just don't. A big, like we would remember as a big slug first baseman that all he did was hit and couldn't run. And they don't even draft those guys anymore. If you can't run, I mean, I think that they're basically grandfathering these guys out of the game, and I think it's to the detriment of the game. I think that a guy like Adam Dunn that can't run but hits the ball really far and walks, there's some value in a guy like that.
Well, especially in the American League right now.
Sure. I mean, not only can he play first base, but DH.
By the way, how long is the DH going to be? Are they actually getting to a point now where they're going to talk about it again, either put it in the National League or get rid of the thing altogether?
They thought that starting last year when there was going to be interleague play every day, that might spur the conversation forward, but I don't know that it gained any traction at all. It isn't going anywhere.
Now, let me ask this question then. I'm not sure. Is it up? Do the players have a heck of a lot to say about this?
The union will have a say because they're going to say that it eliminates jobs.
Yeah, it's a change in working conditions.
And
that'll be
right,
in the
because
contract.
the management would say, well, no, there's still going to be 25-man roster, but then the union's going to say, but you're eliminating a high-paying job, cutting it for a minimum wage job, because you're taking a guy that has big stats, like say an Adam Dunn or Frank Thomas, a DH along those lines, a guy that just hits, Edgar Martinez when he was with Seattle, that's making a big buck, that's making double, making 8 figures. You're going to cut him off of there and replace him with a bottom feeder, with a 25th guy, a utility guy or something. And so that would be very difficult to get rid of, and I don't see the union backing down on that one. And I think if it ever comes to uniformity, I think it'll come to the National League. But a lot of the National League owners say never. And frankly, I don't see the problem with just leaving it the way it is.
Well, I do. And I don't know what it is about it. I think baseball should be universal. In what's good for one's good for the other.
They've gone a long way to that. I'll tell you what, when they took the umpires and took the designation of American League umpires and National League umpires away and just made them Major League umpires, they've gone a long way toward uniformity there.
Yeah, now everybody gets to experience C.B. Buckner.
Oh, my gosh. I know. It's funny, and we know, and they probably don't think that we know, but you see that guy listed, and it's like, you go to a game, and they say, behind the plate tonight, Laz Diaz, and you look at your watch and say, well, we know we're going to be here for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, another thing that I was going to mention about the DH is that they seem to be going away from a designated DH. In other words, tonight we're going to give our left fielder a break. We'll let him DH. Tomorrow night it's our right fielder that gets a break. He DHs, that sort of thing.
Very much. 2 years ago when the Yankees were relatively healthy, that's what they did. That they had the team of a bunch of old guys. So what Girardi would do was, instead of actually paying a guy a big buck to be their full-time DH, they basically had a team of maybe 10 or 11 guys that would get playing time. And depending upon who would need rested, say if it was somebody, if they wanted to rest A-Rod when he came back from his injury, or Jeter because of age or whatever, or Cano or something along those lines, then Abraham Nunez would just go, or Abraham, listen to me, not Abraham Nunez, Eduardo Nunez would go in, and he would play the position. And then that guy they would call it John Sterling would say he's getting a half a day. He would just bat. And then they do it in the outfield with whoever else they would, and move the guys around. And I think it's an effective way to go, and especially for low payroll teams, it's a really smart idea. If you have enough people that you can actually do that, and then your guys get a rest, it's, and it is a money saver.
Mm-hmm. We got to do trivia, Tara. I think, guys, do we have another caller on the line?
No, sorry.
Okay, we do have somebody here in the audience who wants to give us. Wants to rattle our cage. So
yes, we will be rattled too.
What are you going to do now? You cannot do
mystery profiles.
Mystery profiles. So
Johnny Latner.
Knock it off.
I was watching. I'm sorry.
So you've got either the Grand Salami, and I'm rooting against you.
How do you mean you're rooting against me?
Because the price closet is, at the end of the year, price closet is low until I can refurbish. But
okay.
I'm not,
well, then we'll just do a multiple choice.
I say that tongue in cheek, anyway. But
multiple choice is fine. Whatever you want me to do is fine.
Okay. Mike, lay number one on.
Let's go. Here we go, Terry. Let's get one out here. This is NBA of all things. What? But these are.
You want the Russian weightlifter instead?
It's an NBA question, but these are all familiar names. Okay. What NBA Hall of Famer organized the first pro basketball players union? We're just talking about unions. Look at this. Bob Cousy, Jack Twyman, George Mikan, or Oscar Robertson?
Well, I truly have no idea, but I'll go with Bob Cousy.
Oh,
you go correctly.
What a guy.
Way to go,
What
Terry.
do you mean you had no idea?
I didn't.
Really?
The second, well, I've heard of Mikan, and of course Oscar Robertson. He played in Cincinnati and then up to Milwaukee when the team moved. But I don't follow professional basketball. There's just too many timeouts. It becomes too boring.
I'll tell you what.
Especially the last couple minutes.
Oh, it is. I'll tell you what. I got to go see the Cavaliers play about a month ago up in Cleveland, and I had a great time. I had never been to one before. It plays much better in person than it does on television. Hockey's that way too. I know for a fact, but I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the pro game in person much more than TV.
Good. And if they could just fix those tennis shoes from squeaking all the time.
That's one of my favorite sounds.
Oh, I can't stand it myself.
Yeah.
When we were doing high school basketball with the microphones up on the glass
backboards,
banking boards, we had a microphone down on the court. I swear it was driving me crazy.
We
to hear
have
all the squeaking.
We have that on our Highlands games. I have the microphone right at the table. It doubles as pregame microphone, and then we stick it over and make sure we can hear the coach talk. And I have that thing right there. We get the squeaks. It's great.
Anyway, hey Terry,
thanks for everything. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Terry. Thank you.
Talk to you again.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Commercial break. And I guess John's going to join us here in the program. Is he?
We have a call.
Paul's on the phone.
And the fan.
Okay, well, we got to do the break first. So let's do that. Paul's going to join us on the phone, and if we have time, we'll get John in on the from the studio audience. Break time. Back in a flash. This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold.
There once was a hungry road that wouldn't let drivers get very far. It wore out their tires, forcing them to buy new ones. Then along came the Michelin Man who proved the right tire changes everything. With long-lasting tires in place, those drivers were back on the road to saving money. Drive longer with the Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile limited warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Turenum and Freeport Road, Natrona Heights. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. We got a couple of people here to go with. First, Paul's on the line with us. So, Paul, good evening and welcome to the program.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. So I just, how was your Christmas day? Christmas
Day and evening, and the night before. We're all great.
Yes, they were all good. They were very nice.
And who do you like in the Super Bowl? Do you think the Bengals will make it against Seattle? That's what I'm thinking.
I have no idea, Paul. I wish I did. I'm thinking that Denver. I hate to go with the chalk, but I'm thinking Denver's going to go, and I think that
If Manning gets him there, I'm going.
I think Seattle's probably a good pick, though. I don't see that. People are really liking the 49ers. I'm not liking what I'm seeing there, but you never know. It's all about matchups.
Right. Yeah, I just have that's my prediction, Cincinnati against Seattle in the Super Bowl.
Well, I would be surprised if the Bengals get there. I really would. Although I do think that they're going to win this week.
Oh. Yeah, I would agree. So that's all I wanted to say, and you could go to the people in the audience.
All right, Paul, you're not eligible this week?
I think I am. I think I won,
I did see your name was not on last week's sheet, so you want to do a...
Okay, that'd be fine.
Multiple
I'll try
choice?
one.
Is it my turn or yours?
It's yours.
My turn. Okay, very quickly, here we go. Question number 2 in rotation. Who was the first player to score 12 three-point field goals in one NBA game? the first player to score 12 three-point field goals in one NBA game. Kobe Bryant, Michael Redd, Deron Williams, Donnell Marshall.
I'm going to say Kobe Bryant.
You're right. We have another winner.
All right, Paul.
Hey, Paul, thank you. Happy New Year.
Okay, Happy New Year.
Okay, and let's go to the studio audience right now. We'll finish up with John. And John is a work in progress because, John, you're now working. You're visiting over the holidays, I know, but you're now working in Fairfax, Virginia, doing play-by-play for
the Potomac Patriots is a junior team on crossicefeed.com. Thanks for the plug, Bob.
Okay. I knew he'd get the rest of it in, but no, it's great. You know,
sporting that Hartford Whalers sweater out there.
Yeah,
Go
boy,
Whale.
that goes
Go
back.
Whale.
That goes back some
It does go back.
years ago.
What do you got for us tonight, John?
All right, well, I'll stick with football because it's the thought of the evening. But with everyone screaming all season long, Todd Haley has to go. Our quarterbacks have been awful since roughly 2002, and Troy Polamalu has been an amazing Band-Aid these past many seasons. And so on and so forth. With how many bad things the Steelers have, they're getting old. It's no one's a spring chicken on that team. No. And how many linemen have we been through? How deep is the roster really? I've been saying all year, ever since they were really 0-3, of we missed the playoffs. At least things will get fixed because we have a very short memory. And, well, I mean, last year we came so close to making the playoffs, but that one play against the Bengals, well, it didn't matter. We were close. Have we hit that point again? Will we get rid of the people we need to get rid of? Will we remember that, hey, this Steeler team went 0-4 and looked really abysmal throughout the first half of this season? Will we fix it?
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
The problem that I see is that you can't get rid of everyone you need to get rid of in 1 year. That I really just don't see that. So a lot of these guys are going to be back, and a lot of them it's going to depend on contractual obligations on how much they're owed. Are you going to be able to renegotiate a deal with them? Some of them it just won't make any sense to you salary cap wise to get rid of them right now. So guys are coming to the end of their contract. Ryan Clark, he's going to be. Forget it. That's all for him. But, then Brett Kiesel's at the end of his contract, and that's another guy that, okay, well, if you get rid of him and then Ziggy Hood's a free agent, you're not going to give him any money, and then you got a big hole over there. And they don't exactly have cap room and flexibility to go out and sign free agents to come in and take those spots. That defense is the problem. The defense is broken, in my opinion, and that's what has to be fixed. They lost 4 games this year where they scored at least 23 points. They lost 4 games last year in which they lost at least 23 points. You have to go from 2007 all the way back to 2004 to find 8 more. So this tells you that they're giving up too many points. They have to fix it, but it's more than a 1-year fix, and I think that's the problem.
All right, we got 2 minutes, John.
Todd Haley, does he go?
I don't think he does either, John. There's no reason for him to be fired. He has to stay.
Okay.
Okay.
There's no reason. Why would you fire him? All they do is score.
When Ben calls the plays, that's all he does is score. But.
Well, hey, somebody's got to draw him up.
Let's to make the trip worth his while, come all the way. Let's do. What do you want to do, real quick?
Give me a multiple choice. Hey, you got a hockey question? I'll take it in whatever form it's in.
I don't have one.
This is baseball, but you may get this.
Yeah,
these are famous. These are famous people, John.
Okay.
What Hall of Fame major leaguer donated $100,000 to build a hospital in his hometown? Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Honus Wagner.
I'm thinking Joe DiMaggio.
You broke the streak.
He broke the streak.
And we're mad.
Joe DiMaggio, although a great player, famously cheap. So I really don't think that would have happened. So we take him out.
Was it Onus? That was my next guess.
It's Ty Cobb. You'd have never guessed. The meanest SOB on the list. Seriously.
Anyway, John, God bless you for making the trip.
Thanks, John.
I always
Happy
appreciate
New Year.
it, guys. Happy New Year.
Be safe on your way back to Fairfax.
And may Potomac live.
Yes.
Go Patriots.
Go Patriots, indeed. Not the New England
Yeah,
ones,
it's the only time you can say that.
Patriots.
All right, from Mike and I, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right, God bless. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.